Hey, everyone, and good evening. Happy Thursday. I pray that your day has been well. I am so glad to be back with you guys another Thursday at the Real Room. I pray that your families are well. I pray that all things are still working together for your good. God is faithful. Just remember that He's fighting for us. Tonight, guys, listen, we have another very special and amazing guest that we are about to bring on in just a few seconds. But before we do, I want to make a few announcements, okay? I want to encourage everyone to mark your calendars for August the 15th and the 16th. August the 15th and the 16th. Where? Baltimore, Maryland. We are going to be having the Real Room live, and we cannot wait. We're super excited. We have an amazing lineup. We have some amazing guests coming, and we just cannot wait to share with our sisters, our tribes from all over the world that are going to be coming from far and near. So mark your calendars, get your stuff together, get your outfits, whatever you need to do to prepare. Just know that all of the announcements will be forthcoming. Just give us a few more days. We're getting some things in order, okay? All right. So also, it's Women's History Month. We are celebrating all of our sisters. We are celebrating your wins. We're pushing you, and we're just believing God to continue to catapult you into places and spaces that He has for you in this season. So if you can, do me a favor. Take a few minutes, take a second, and share this video, because I'm going to bring in a very amazing special guest. We are here tonight to shift our sisters. We're going to bring in none other than Lori A. Carter. Come on in, sis. How are you?
Hello, Marie. How are you?
I am well. It's so good to see your beautiful face. I want to tell the tribe a little bit about Lori A. Carter. Lori A. Carter is a proud graduate of an HBCU, Morgan State University. She has a degree in urban regional planning. She is a Jack Welch Scholar with a master's of business administration. Lori is the co-founder of Merlin Capital Enterprises, started in 1997. Come on, Black Excellence. Lori is also the co-founder of Black Excellence Community Fund. She is the CEO of Solomon's Financial Solutions for 19 years. Come on, we got to celebrate Black excellence. She is also a member of Mount Enoch Holy Church, where she serves as the business administrator and as a proud member serving God's people. And Lori has some more great things to tell us. So guys, do me a favor, put those hands together, clap, 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 for our special guest, our sister, our friend, none other than Lori A. Carter. Lori, what's up?
Hi, Marie. How are you doing? It is such a blessing and truly an honor to be able to serve with you on this platform this evening. I am really overjoyed to be here, and it is great to see you and to be a part of the Real Room, because I remember when the Real Room got started.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So, some fun facts. You mentioned fun facts.
Yes.
One fun fact about me, I would say, is that I love to truly do, I love scuba diving,
What?
snorkeling. I certainly do.
Okay.
I really enjoy it. I am adventurous, even though I'm very reserved, and a lot of people say I'm real conservative. But there are some things about the great outdoors that I truly, truly love, and I'm committed to. So those are just some things, that fun facts about me. And I love to cook. That's something else. A lot of people don't think. I don't know, because I'm single, what, that they just don't. You don't love to cook. I enjoy cooking. It is something that I truly relaxes me, brings me into a real good zen. So I love to cook.
And Lori, I remember you taking us to some gourmet restaurants. So you also like to have 5-star.
I love
You,
5-star. You can blame that on my parents, because
yeah.
it was like my father always said, we may not have everything, but one thing we're going to do, we're going to eat well. And so
Yes.
from that, I've had the luxury of experiencing some great food, and I enjoy that. I'm a foodie as well.
You are a foodie. And guess what? Y'all, just as another fun fact about her, she's a foodie, but she's tiny. I don't understand it. I really
Yeah.
don't understand. it? You know, where does it go?
I've changed a little bit. I mean, being 61, as we all know,
Oh
as
my
women,
goodness.
and
$61.
I'm 61, and being, since this is Women's Month, there are things that change with the body, and even though I'm still petite to many, but I've noticed some changes, and there are some places I've had to work on to make sure I stay petite.
Hmm. Lori, listen, man, listen. 52 hit me with like a tsunami. I'm serious. And I used to laugh years and years of doing hair, and my clients would sit in the seat and I would be doing their hair and pressing their hair, and the heat would literally be rising from their scalp. And I'd be like, as fast as I'm pressing, you're sweating, you know? And now, ma'am, listen,
It's real.
it'll make you strip on the interstate.
Let me tell you, I remember I started going through that process of life very early. I was actually at the age of 46, and I
Okay.
started seeing certain things happening. And by 50, woo, it was a full tsunami. And the sweating,
Yes.
stripping out of clothes, can't wait to get out of, certain things. And at night, tell me,
Yes. Yes.
real.
Covers on, covers off.
Covers on
Covers on,
top of
covers
covers.
off.
So it's gotten a little bit better, but like I told you earlier, every now and then she kind of lets me know, I'm still here. So
Mhm.
sometimes I get a little bit of flashbacks, and I get a little sweats going on, but I've gone pretty much over a little bit, but there's still some of the emotional things that still happen with
Let's
it.
talk about that. Talk about that for a second, because people don't really believe that.
It's real. I'm gonna tell you, I have been, and I haven't really shared this publicly. So this is the first time I'm sharing this really like publicly. Now, those that are close to me know this. When I went through the whole menopause saga, the anxiety was terrific. It was horrific for me. I never in my life, I've always been adventurous and driving and going. I would hop in a car. I don't mind driving by myself, did it, wouldn't have a problem doing it. And I had a bad anxiety attack while driving. And
Wow.
it was during that period. And it has taken me, and I thought first, mentally, this can't be real. No, this can't be real. But after consulting with my doctor and you talked about this, it was very much real. And the panic attacks that were happening was definitely because I had a chemical imbalance. And so I've had to work through all that. And it took me a minute because I had to, at some point, I had a driver. I would not even drive long distance. And I know that's hard for people to believe.
Wow.
That is very true. And this is the first time I've ever really said it publicly like this. So it's real. When some people try to minimize it, like, oh, it's all in your head. No, it's very real. And
Mhm.
so I've had to work through that, have been and still is, but
Mhm.
God is faithful and it's been getting better than it has been in a long, long time.
Wow. So the first thing, guys, I want us to, and I can't see any comments, so guys, don't think I'm ignoring you. It's the platform that I'm on tonight. But I want you to put some claps on just because of the Black excellence of our sister Lori. She looks so amazing. You said you're 61 and you look flawless at 61. And the fact that you shared that very intimate moment with us, because I really believe that you're helping someone. I have not gotten to that stage or phase yet, but I have gotten through the phase of my life where I'm just like, oh, like, it's my, because now I'm getting hips. And
Mhm.
for me, I could walk and I could lose weight. Or if I'm on a consecration, like in the first couple of days, like I'm just dropping weight. Not now,
Mhm.
honey,
Yeah.
please fast. I can fast and not eat nothing for 5 days, and my hips still look the same when I come out here. I'll be like, Lord, can you visit my outside like you do my inside? Like, Lord, mercy. Lord, you're
Yes.
shedding some things on the
Yes.
inside, but can you shed this? Like,
Yes,
yeah, it's
exactly.
real.
It is very, very real. And you know, as you say, I mean, I've been able to maintain the weight, but there are other portions of the body that's changed. I never thought the sag situation would go on. All those things, and even tiredness at times,
Yeah.
because I was used to going, and having to catch a nap means so much nowadays. I never knew. I used to think my parents was like, y'all are too much. Y'all are just a little bit too much. But now I realize that those moments are very real,
They're
and
real.
I appreciate a good nap in a second.
Mhm. Yeah. You know what's so funny? I tell my mom this because she has a problem. If she falls asleep, I didn't want to go to sleep. I got stuff to do. Mom, what do you have to do? First of all, I said,
Mhm.
it's okay to take a nap. It's all right.
Yes,
Listen, you on God's agenda and your own agenda. Whatever you want to do is what you do. But I get it, like that whole tiredness, and then I'll find myself trying to go work out or go to the gym or go
right,
walk in, like snap
right.
out of it. And it really is real. So
It's very
guys,
real.
listen, women, it's all about us this month, and we are here to celebrate our sisters. And I want to let you know, for us women that are in our beautiful stages of life that we're in right now, I want you to know that you're not crazy. There are other
No,
women
Lacey.
that are definitely going through those stages. And I'm going to ask you, brothers, please give us grace. Please
Yes,
give us
give
grace.
grace. Give
Yes,
grace.
give us
It is
grace.
definitely needed. And it's funny because men have their own too. They just don't, some of them are coming to the realization of it. But I just think that it's so important that they give grace because it is very real. And at first, I just didn't think it was, but I had to come to the realization myself that it is real.
And you know what else is funny? I hate to throw shade, but I got to do it.
Oh, throw
If
shade.
I see one more older gentleman get out of a Corvette that's on the ground, I am going to scream.
Oh, Marie,
Like,
they're going through. Now, come
I
on.
don't understand.
They're
Like,
trying to figure it out too. So, I
but
mean,
you rolling
exact
out of it.
same way that we're trying to, we want the grace too. And it's funny because, the changes that they go through is like one of those things where sometimes they're like, oh, I'm not going through anything. I'm not going to, like, you're looking at it, like you're seeing it. Like, yes, you are. You really, really are. But yeah, I've seen a couple of papas who are trying to figure it out. I'm going to say
Right.
it like that.
Like trying to figure it out.
Trying to figure it
While
out.
they're trying to figure it out, they're rolling out the little teeny car. Like it just be. I'd be
Yes.
like, you flying, old baby, but listen, honey, you gonna have to pick me up in a big truck because I'm not rolling at nothing. Okay.
It is so funny because I know my brother, he's 6 years younger than mine, so he's 55, 56, whatever. And he bought himself a actual Jaguar that has a convertible top. And I'm like, where did that come from? But I realized too, even though he's not older, but he's going through a stage. He said something I always wanted to do and just never did it. But
I don't know. I don't know, Lori. I just feel like a Jaguar with a convertible top. I don't know. I think I just have a little bit more grace for that.
you got a little bit more grace for that one
Compared to
than the
that
Corvette.
Corvette, because the Corvette is like this high off the ground.
Well, this is low too. I mean, it's all low, but so it's just, I think, again, if anything we all can take from this is that we all are going through, and we will go through seasons.
Yes.
And whatever they are, we have to figure it out. We have to reframe. We may have to reset, whatever we may have to do, but we'll get through it. But we just have to know that we need grace to get through it too.
We need grace, and we got to give each other grace. Look,
Got to give each other grace.
Laura, it was something that we talked about in our pre-interview that I wanted you to share with us about you being a proud member of the Princess Anne chapter. Talk about that really quick. Share that with us.
Okay, so basically, and I'm gonna make this real quick. So, at the age of 59, going into 60, but 60, when I was in college, I never had the opportunity to really do college life. And that was mostly because my mother was one that was ill. So I had to make some decisions, and I lived on campus for about a semester, and then I went off of campus. And from there, I had to commute from the Baltimore area back home in order to help things there. And even though I was still in school, so I never got an opportunity, as much as I wanted to be a part of a sorority. And so one of the things that was on my list, as we all have the bucket list, I wanted to do that. So later, much later in life, because majority of my wonderful line sisters are much younger than me, but I love those girls to death. They're in their 20s and 30s, and some are in their 40s, and there's another one that's in her 50s. I decided to make that decision to actually become a part of the Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. And I am a proud member of Princess Anne Alumni Chapter, which we are doing some great and wonderful things within the community. That's the reason why I really got involved, because I'm a firm believer. You can do more when you're connected to community. And even though I am very much involved with my church, I have other types of communities, but there are certain specializations that they do that really spoke to me, and that was economic development. So I serve as a co-chair on the economic development committee, and we are doing some fun things. We have several things that are coming up this month, which is called financial fortitude. And we are helping our community to really tap into the resources and the things that we need to be aware of in order to be successful and to have financial wellness and well-being. We need to be whole. So I really am so proud to be a part of that organization, and they are just a great bunch of wonderful women who are doing great things within the community.
That is amazing. We are clapping, clapping, clapping. All of our tribe, we are clapping and celebrating all that the women are doing and changing lives, changing our communities, one person at a time. It makes a difference. And this is really about our conversation tonight. So tonight we're going to be talking about embracing your starting point. Your story is valid. Embracing your starting point, wherever your starting point is, or your start over point. And so, Lori, I want us to really begin to speak to that, because there are so many people that are getting started, and there are people that are getting started again. And I know that I can speak to both. I know what it's like to start, but I also know what it's like to have to start all over again. And that is a part of my story, my testimony, my journey. I'm so grateful, for every bit of the challenges and stuff like that. But we get some people that go through the challenges and they start reverting into themselves because of the embarrassment, because of the shame, because they feel like it's too late to start, or they did not succeed in the last, whatever they tried. So I want us to speak to that, because I feel like the shift begins with a mindset. And I believe that's one of our first points. And I want you to expound on that tonight. The shift really begins with our mindset. Can you encourage our sisters and brothers right there?
Sure, most definitely. I mean, when you look at life itself, and we are all taught, certain things, and we're at different levels. No matter where any of us happen to be at a particular time, we have to realize, and I think it's very important that even as we raise our children, for those that have them, that failure is not failure. Failure is only a moment in time. It's not a lifetime. And I think we have to make sure that the mindset of us understanding really that even though you may plan out something, the best of the plans, they do take turns. They do have different ebb and flows and this way and that way. But we have to be consistent, and we have to make sure that we're putting forth not only the best effort, but we are around the right type of community, for one. Two, that we honor where we are, because sometimes because of social, and I love social media, like that's what we're doing tonight. And I know that this is something that we have heard over and over again, that everything that looks a certain way is not really that way. But we've got to make sure that we have and understand ourselves first, spend time with ourselves, understand our mind. What do we think? How do we think? What do we do? And then it's going to be so key that we try to grab a hold of those tools that will help us to be better as we think about our mindset. But we first got to understand our mind. Sometimes we want to look at so many things at one time, but to focus in, to kind of get clarity. Clarity is key to making sure that we're able to obtain the right mindset. One, we're going to have to take, as people of faith, and because, we happen to be, we have to make sure that first we are talking to our Father,
Mm-hmm.
and that our Father is helping us to understand who we are, and not only who we are, but whose we are.
Whose we are.
And it's so key because it is important for us, because not all the time we get it from family and those that are close to us, but
Mm-hmm.
we have to understand what God is saying about us and making sure that we are in tune with that. And that will help us with our mindset. We have to make it a practice
Mm-hmm.
to make sure that we spend time with the mind. The
With the
majority of the time, we are doing so many things. We're doing this,
Mhm.
we're doing that, but we don't take time and back off and really settle in and understand, who am I? What do
Yes.
I think? How do I feel?
Mm-hmm.
So those are some things that I would say.
Mm-hmm. Um, and I want to add to this, if I can, before we go to our next point. I think that instead of us focusing on where we are, what we have going on currently, we got to stay focused on the vision of where we want to go, where we want to be. I think that if you focused on where you want to go, what your desire is, it won't allow you to give up and abort where you are currently. Because building anything is painful. It really is. I mean, you've never seen a house built and they put the windows on first.
No, never,
You got to put the foundation. You
never,
got to
no,
pour the foundation, and then you put the what is it called? The siding and all of that stuff. The foundations first.
everything.
Yes.
You
And
got
so
to frame it. You
the
have to
frame it. There you go.
You have
Thank
to
you.
frame
Thank
it.
you. Thank you. And so before anything can go inside, you got to complete the outside, right? And in the spirit, it's different. We
Mhm.
got to deal with the internal, and then we work outwardly, right? And so just to encourage somebody tonight that a do-over is not I'm done.
No,
It's
no, no,
just simply a do-over. So I want somebody to give themselves grace in your do-over season.
most definitely. I think that one of the things that I said, and I think I was saying earlier with the mindset, you have to go in. It's not that you're looking to fail. Let me say that, because we
Mhm,
all should look to succeed. But
mhm,
we also have to deal with the reality. Rome was not built in a day. Anyone
mhm,
who has ever had success has gone through failure.
mhm,
But what they had to do, they had to reframe their situation. And
mhm.
I think if we kind of build in for failure, not to a point where we're looking to fail, but say, hey, if this doesn't work, what do I need? How do I need to pivot? What do I need to do in order to move so I don't get stuck? And I think
Right.
because we make mistakes, or we have found some things where we have made like a big error or whatever the case may be, and shame is the first thing, as we know, that the enemy brings when we don't succeed in an area that we think we should. And so it's very important that we spend time in understanding, first of all, I can get this done, but I'm going to make some mistakes. Now, how do I rectify that? What do I need to do? Who I need to contact with? Who I need to be in touch with? What do I need to do? So to be actually consistent so that you don't give up in the midst of when you feel like you haven't arrived at a certain area.
Mhm. And I want to say this to my sisters, because this is our month, that wherever you are, be honest with yourself. It starts with being honest with yourself. You can be whoever you are when you go out the house, but let's sit in ourselves and be honest with ourselves. And this is a true and a fun fact, and I want to share this to help somebody. Um, Starting over looks crazy.
Oh,
And it does. It looks crazy because you start questioning yourself. What could I have? How could I have? All of those things really do come up in your mind. However, once you have identified where you did what was your part, once you've identified that, then you can grow from that, and then you can take those tools to go ahead and help somebody else. And I think that's what the next point that I want us to get to. I want to talk about financial wholeness and being aware financially, and not allowing the overwhelming places that we are the things that are going on in our society around us and stuff like that, that makes people feel like, hey, I'm just going to always be in this place. Can you help somebody pull us up out of that place?
Well, first of all, and it's very critical that once you make a decision, I don't want to be here anymore. I want something different. It is very key. And I know it seems so simple, but you really have to get yourself a pad and a piece of paper and start writing the vision.
Mm-hmm.
Even where you're not, write where you want to be. And that's key. I know, and you know what's, I find that people typically don't achieve certain things because they get caught up on simplicity. Oh, that's too simple. Oh, that doesn't mean anything. That writing it down, putting it to paper, pen to paper, start there. Once you start there, it's so imperative that you kind of chart yourself. Set simple goals starting out. And once you get one little simple goal, celebrate that. Make that something wonderful. Celebrate yourself. It is so important and imperative. So, because again, when you look at, say, for instance, what we just talked about, financial wholeness, what does that mean? Financial well being, what does that look like? First of all, let's acknowledge it looks different for everybody.
Let us sit right there. I want everybody to lean in. Let's just lean in, soak that in, because the worst thing you can do is compare yourself to somebody else. Every person has been in that place. So for 1 second, I just want us to soak in what Lori has shared with us. Okay, now you can go ahead.
And the reason why I say that, because again, everyone's goals are different. We tend to group everybody in as success as if I make $1 million. That's wonderful if you do. What if you don't? Are you not whole? Are you not well? The problem, the whole thing of it is financial wellness is, first of all, the skills and the strategies of your finances. What you do day to day in order to manage your money. You're learning skills, you're developing skills, you're figuring out what does it take for me in order to take care of my daily and whether it be your future. That's the wellness, because those are skills, those are strategies.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? When you get to the wholeness part, for some, it's freedom of not having a job. You can still not have a job and not be whole. You can still have funds and money and all things and not be whole. Wholeness turns into when you develop a plan and you start to value what's important to you in vision. Understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So wellness is the skills, the strategy, financial wellness, what it takes for me to do my day-to-day management of my finances. Wholeness is once I've got that and I've obtained that and I've worked that, is when you start looking at how do I take my vision that now has value that can now change other lives.
My vision that has value that can change other lives.
Yes.
Somebody get that. Your vision. I'm sorry, Laura. I wanted to park there because I had to pull that up out of you. Your vision has value and it's going to change others' lives. But it's your vision.
It's your vision.
Habakkuk says it. Write the vision and make it plain. It's your vision that has value. Okay.
So that's when you're looking at it, it's taking out the time, making the sacrifice. Like I always said, and I still stick to this. If you want financial wellness, you got to do financial wellness things. What does that look like, Lori? That means some nights you have to, whether it's monthly or every other week, make a date with your money. Make a date with your money. That's not taking your money on a date. That's you taking out time, sitting down and looking at where you are. We have to, whether it's good, bad, ugly, or indifferent, we have to take out time to sit down and do a self-examination. Take the bills out of the box that you've been hiding, that you haven't been looking at, and make a date with your money. Focus in. Even if it's painful, even if it's shameful, even if it's mistakes, whatever it is. Because the thing of it is, you're trying to get to the next of financial wholeness. And I'm only speaking from experience because I have been on the other side. Sometimes people look at you and they think, oh, you got it like that. No, I went through and I've gone through embarrassing moments when it came down to my finances. There were moments I was not proud. Everybody else may not know it. It didn't matter. Internally, I knew it.
Yes, yes.
And so, but I was so determined, I wasn't going to let that to be my pit stop. No pit stops here. So that means you're ever learning, ever evolving, and whatever it takes. If it means you having to read an article, if it means you having to listen to a podcast, or like we're doing tonight, you do whatever it takes to get you to that next level.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you do. Don't keep skipping here, there, and everywhere. Focus in, clarity on one item, work with that, achieve that, and then move. Then pivot, then move. And I hope I answered what you was asking.
You certainly did. You certainly did. And I wanted to go back to what you were talking about the community part. Find, and I had this in my notes. I said, find or build a community. Connect with mentors, business groups, or financial literacy circles that support diverse voices. Surrounding yourself with like-minded individuals can open up doors you never imagined. I had that in my notes, and I wanted to share that. But I also want to pivot and go back to what if you don't have any money at all? I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I think that you study where you want to grow and be.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's very important. I know that, sometimes it can be overwhelming to people that are around you. I'm just hinting to my team out loud. But I just study where I want to go and how I want to grow. I glean from other people, you know what I mean? And those little nuggets. No, I don't want to be like anybody but Jesus. I admire a lot of people. I do. And I support and I celebrate them. However, I can glean something from everybody to help me to develop and become better at my craft, better at what God has anointed me to do. And I think that's where we have to learn. But what about the person that does not have anything at all? I was in a meeting the other day, and the room was full of government workers. It broke my heart. Government workers that are trying to start over.
Mm-hmm.
That don't know, they got their severance packages, they got their funds, but they're trying to figure out, I don't know what this life looks like. I am a six-figure person, and now I am really restarting my life, right? Not something that I did. And this is the thing. You can prepare and have 6 months and all that, but I'm telling you, I don't care who you are. If there is not something that backs that 6 months up, after the 6 months, what you gonna do after that, right? Because a savings, I say this all the time, if you withdraw from the bank and you never put nothing in, then guess what? At the end, there's not gonna be anything. And that's facts, right?
That is facts.
However, Lori, we gotta pluck your brain, because real talk, life be lifing, and it's nothing that you've gone out here and done. Life just be happening, whether it's a sickness, whether it's you've lost your job, or whether it's you've been in a car accident, or whether you're going through a divorce or grief. Something can happen catastrophic that can shift the whole trajectory of a person's life. Yes. I want you to go and pull up our sister. Go pull up our brother and let them know how you can start over when you have nothing in the bank. That's what I want you to talk to them about.
Wow, when you have nothing in the bank. Let me tell you this. I had a mentor that that mentored us, and you know who I'm speaking of. And one of the things that I remember when I was dealing with a financial situation, and he would always say to me, Lori, it's just numbers. And I used to say, Mr. Jim, don't do that. That's frustrating. I ain't got no numbers. There's no numbers. But what he was trying to do was to help me to see that it's really a math problem. I didn't quite understand because for me, it was no, I can't do this. I'm having this bill, this is coming up. But what he was saying to me as a math problem, go and find a solution because every math problem has a solution. So that's when we have to tap into our skills. We have to start looking at other things that, like for me, like even though even though I retired last August, thank God, I retired, was able to retire, and even in all that, I have yet gone back to work because I still have other skills that I wanted to use. So when somebody is at the bottom of the bottom, I had to look at my skill set, where I could get free resources that can help me to rebuild. Um, I had to sometimes put down the pride and ask for help. Um, I also had to look at other ways that possibly I could get income, which was through the skill sets. So, what you need to do is, again, tap into your community. There is tons of resources out there while you're in this middle or in this meantime, as I call it, this meantime. There are tons of resources. So sometimes you might have to dig a little. That's why your network is so important because when you're in that position and might not know what to do, your network is going to be key because just today, matter of fact, I just had someone who I was talking to today who was in the middle of something and did not know exactly what to do. I was able to pick up the phone and say, hey, they're in this situation. How might you best help them? Did connection. And right through that particular connection is now helping them. It may not be the whole picture, but it's the step. It's the step to the next step. So sometimes we have to not look at it. It's very difficult when your backup is really against the wall and you don't know where your next is coming from. But you have to be mindful if I can get from this step to this step to this step and build again. It's like building blocks. And I think it's going to be key in regards to community. That's why being able to tap into and being a part of certain organizations are so key and community because community builds you when you are down. As much as it lifts you up when you're up, it also provides you what you need to get through those very difficult times.
So, and I want to say something to that as well. Let me just say this because I have this in my notes too. Start small, stay consistent.
Be consistent.
Don't despise your small beginnings. Even small investments, side hustles shift your whole life.
Most definitely.
The small ones, right? So I just wanted to say that to somebody. Just start small and stay consistent. Really, it's hard because I know even me building this is a whole different lifestyle for me, building my brand and, the things that the Lord has called me to, it has become a challenge, but I have a team that undergirds me as well. And they keep pushing me like, okay, you got to do this. You have to be consistent because I'm just not that girl that likes to be out in the forefront. I'm good. Let me serve in the background and I'm good. Right.
Yes.
But it takes a different level of consistency when you're doing certain projects. So I want to ask you in regards to that, when you were talking about community and, having people there that can help and stuff like that, what if a person is in that situation, they're trying to figure it out and they don't know who they can trust?
Well, one thing is for sure, and I know, and I don't want to sound so cliche about, the spiritual realm and God, but I have to, because the thing of it is, when we lay our plans before the Lord, and I know you're a witness, I'm a witness, God will definitely lead you to the people that can help you through this. Now, is there times that the enemy gets in and someone may allow him to use them, and therefore trust can be a problem or it could turn up to be an issue? Anything's possible, sure. But I'm a firm believer that there are people that are purposefully put here for you. I'm a firm believer of that.
Mm-hmm.
I know every time that I have ever been in any stage of my life, God has planted and placed the necessary individuals or resources I needed to get there. So
Yeah.
I don't kind of dwell on the non-trust, and that's just me.
Mm-hmm.
I know because I put that before him, and I know it's real. But even in that, even if I come across someone that may not be who they say that they are, I learn from it, grow from it, and pivot. You got to learn from it, got to grow from it, and pivot. You got to learn from it, got to grow from it, and pivot. And so I think that you cannot allow yourself to become bitter, because you must remember there is an enemy of our soul that does not want us to carry out our vision and our passion. Mm-hmm. So expect the obstacles, expect the challenges, expect the betrayal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, because it's a part of life. And if we don't prompt ourselves up to look at it that way, then we're always going to be in a stagnant position, because as soon as one particular blow hit, it's going to knock you down. It may knock you down for a minute. It may knock the wind out of you, but you got to do what? You got to learn, you got to grow, and you got to pivot.
And you got to pivot. And I also had this in my notes, guys. I want to share this. It's never too late to pivot. Whether you're starting over in your 30s, your 40s, or your 50s, it's never too late to pivot. Let your impossibilities, what you think is impossible, remain possible with God. Shift your focus, shift your finances, shift your career. You'll shift the whole trajectory of your life. And just to bring some more context behind what you said, that's the place in my life when everything shifted and swift transition and all the things that God allowed me to walk through. And I'm thinking, is this how it is? Like, is this what it is? However, God has created a very sensitive place in my heart to understand all of the things that people go through from a different lens. It's one thing when we have the word and we can preach it. We can, my daughter was marking me last night. I was reading my Bible and she was like, "You reading the word? You reading the word?" And then she got her preacher voice, and then she took my glasses and put them on and start acting like she was mimicking. And I was like, she don't have no idea it's in her. However, you know, in those places and spaces, we can pick up the word of God. And y'all know this is a faith-based community. So you can pick up the word of God and you can minister it. But when the word starts ministering to you and it comes from a different place, there's a different respect level. I will tell anybody, you're sensitive. You're sensitive. You become more sensitive when God allows you to walk through it. You can preach all day long that God is a healer.
Correct.
You can preach all day he's a way maker.
Correct.
You can preach all day that he's a father to the fatherless and a mother to the motherless and all of these things. Yes, it sounds so good. But when you literally have to walk through those places and spaces and feel that infirmity on a different level, you got a different respect.
Different.
You got a different respect. And so I think that I am very sensitive in this season of my life of pivoting and starting over, that I do understand what it is like to build. And I don't want anybody that is tuning in tonight to feel like, okay, well, they're just on here, they don't have any idea, they don't know. That's not true. We're telling you from our heart posture that we understand, but there is hope beyond hope. And God will give you exactly what you do. I promise you. I promise you. Y'all got to get my book. It's coming out soon. Get my book. I promise you that God will literally keep you in perfect peace if you keep your mind stayed on him. So listen, Lord, we got to go pivot back. We got to go back because as you were building up everyone and sharing and pouring, I want you to pour into them 5 strategies that they can use like right now to help them out of this place with all the economic shifts that we have. Everything is shifting in our economic circles and stuff like that. What can you give them right now 5 points. Hey, let's get started here because it's not too late to build a life you desire.
Well, and it really depends upon what you're trying to build. So if we're
Okay.
going to talk about from the standpoint, if it's your actual career and you still have a job, thank God, then I will always tell this. And I used to say this to my staff back in the day when I had a staff. Um, Always continue to be evolving, continue learning. Reading is fundamental. You do learn. And I think you have to be willing to dive in and do the things that you would normally do. If you're not a reader, you are reading if you stay on the cell phone. Okay. So
Facts.
make sure if somebody can scroll through and read and see what everybody else is doing, go and find some topics that you can be able to hone in on that can help to build you. That's a strategy. Learn. Because as you learn, you can also earn. Learn, earn. So
Good.
it basically builds you, whether or not if it's an actual career or if you're going to be someone who's going to be starting a business. But again, building those skills. You've got to work at building those skills. And let me tell you, we celebrate people all the time that do wonderful things. Oh my God, they did this, they did that. How do you think they did it? Yes, there is a few people in the population who was born with a silver spoon in their mouth, or a gold spoon, or a platinum spoon, whatever kind of spoon you want to call it.
Just a spoon.
But there is a very large percentage that did not have that. So there were certain things they did in order to get there. So one, I would say, as I said earlier, make sure you're willing to learn and evolve in your learning. Take out time and read articles online, whatever. Second of all, if you still have a job, I'm going to say this, and you have a career and you're trying, since we're also talking about a little bit of financial stuff, I'm asking everyone, I'm telling everybody now, look up high yield savings accounts. High yield. There are accounts out there where you're able to get 3.89%. There are some you can get 4% interest versus having your savings account in a 0.01% account. You be saying, Lori, I only have $20 a month. I only have 10. I don't care. Start somewhere. It's called start to get where you want to be.
That's good.
So look that up. Look that up. Go online. Look up. I can tell you now. Discover has it. There's another bank that also has it. And I'm not promoting anybody. I'm not getting paid for this, but I'm just letting you know there are certain banks that do provide those high yield. There's one that's called Barclays. Barclays is also another good one, 3.89%. So I'm just saying, do your research and look up high yields. These are ways to start building small, okay? The other thing too is to become involved in networks. Networks, I can't say this enough. Networks definitely impact your net worth. The more that you are around people, even when you may be down and out, you're around good, positive energy, people that are moving in a direction. It may not be your direction, but they're moving in directions that is positive, that brings forth great opportunity, great discussion of learning. Being around people who are smarter than you, I do it all the time. I enjoy being around people that I can just like sponge off of and get so much information is key. So that's number 3, being around great networks that can help you to build your net worth. And I know that these are things that we probably have heard, but as I said earlier, we tend to not be successful, not because we don't know, we just don't practice. There's a lot of things we know. We go to all these conferences, we go to all of these workshops. Tell me one thing that you actually took one thing and actually put it into practice. That's how you build wealth. That's how you build opportunity, is that you take that one thing off of the paper and you put it into practice and you move it and then you go to the next. Number 4 is very, very, very important. And that is, you have to be willing to be a listener.
That's good.
And I know, again, I'm not going to give you big things. I deal with simplicity. I'm very
Mhm.
linear. I always
Mhm.
tell that to people all the time. Simplicity is where people miss it
Mhm.
because they're looking for some, oh my God, wasn't that, oh, that was just out of the world. Oh my. No, you haven't even got the simple things. Get the simple things, and I guarantee you, you'll be able to bring in those things that you think is out of this world. Listening, not always talking, but listening. I have learned more by being in environments and just listening, paying attention. As they say, being a fly on the wall,
Mhm.
getting and absorbing and taking in information. And then if I don't understand, I write down certain words, even if I might not know how to spell the word, but I do my best. And then when I get back home, I go in, I do my research, and I learn. Again, building those things that's going to help you as an individual to be able to navigate something new. That's number 4.
Mhm.
And number 5, you can't quit.
Ooh,
Just
that's so good.
you just can't.
That's good.
You just can't quit.
That's good.
Anyone that you celebrate, any consumer, anything as a consumer that you buy, things from anything from a cell phone to riding in a car, that didn't happen overnight. It was because someone was determined and they did not quit.
Mhm. Mhm.
And they made sure, even if they made mistakes, they hung in there until they figured it out. So those are some things, and as I said, I know they're very simplistic, but they're things that really, when the rubber really hits the road, makes all the difference in the world. So you have to be committed to not wanting to quit and be willing to go around diverse environments.
Mhm.
And I know we're living in a time now where everybody's talking about DEI and what's not happening. You are your own DEI. As my godson says, Ronzel Pretlow, he kind of coined it. He says, what, do everything inside of you or something like that, I believe it is. So you just have to make sure that you are working on you daily. It's a daily thing and not just, okay, today I feel like it, tomorrow I may not. It's consistency.
Mhm. And we talked about that earlier. And I shared that last week with Dr. Williams. I said, even being home, working from home or whatever, I still get up every day,
Yes.
my makeup, I
Yes.
do my hair, I get fully dressed, and I go in my at my desk in my office and I work as if I'm going out into a building. So I think that it's important for us to make sure that we value ourselves before we expect for others to value us.
Marie, I think that's an excellent, and then let me say this.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point that you made up. I remember when I first came from college, I didn't have the job that I actually retired from. I worked for Thrift Drug. And at that store, I basically started as the cashier and I was a college graduate with a degree. And life happened, end up here. And but I end up in the pharmaceutical area. But let me tell you one thing. In my mind, I ran Thrift Drug like I was the owner. And I was not a manager. I was not a supervisor. I was a cashier and then I was in the back at the pharmaceutical. But in my mind, every day I walked up and down those aisles when I picked up something, when I did something, I was actually in my mind running like I'm running Thrift Drug.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened was networks and opportunity and also personality and willing to be nice. That's how I met the person who ended up hiring me was through that job, through conversation. So what I'm saying is we have to, and you make an excellent point about getting up in the morning, getting yourself prepared,
Mm-hmm.
acting as though I'm going out here to conquer today. And
Mm-hmm.
even though you may not get everything, but you've got to continue. And I know some people say, that's so tiresome. I'm not getting what I want. It takes time, but you got to be committed to it. And it will happen in due
It
time.
will. It will. Yep. Though it tarries,
Though it
you
tarries,
have to wait for it.
you have
Um,
to wait for it.
I want to say this, and then I'm going to, because we're already at our time. I
Oh,
want you to, I'm going to give you the stage to close us out, but I want to say this. have faith, take action, remain resilient, believe in yourself, do it all over again. Take action, stay in faith, stay resilient, even when obstacles arise. Whenever it gets turbulent, you have to understand that you're definitely on the right path. You got to keep plowing. You cannot give up. If you got to start over, start over. If you're
Yes.
starting from scratch, start from scratch. If nobody's ever done it before, you still do it. If you don't have anybody to help you, ask God to help you. Trust me, if you continue to go and be led by faith,
Yes.
not your feelings,
Yes.
because if you go by your feelings, you won't do nothing. But if you
Oh,
move in faith,
well,
then you can do more than you can ever imagine. So I want to encourage you tonight. I appreciate the Real Room Tribe. I appreciate you all's support. I appreciate you guys tuning in every week. And I appreciate you sharing our videos and just being a part. But I wanted to encourage you. And tonight we had to pivot. But because we do talk
yes.
about a lot of fun things and we do a lot of laughs and, we do the churchy thing sometimes. But tonight I wanted us to shift because I know that there are several of my sisters that tune
Yes.
in that don't know where to get started,
They don't know
that
what.
are starting over, that feel like there's no hope and just want a little string of hope. And so this is what we wanted to do tonight. I wanted to shift your mindset because if you change your mind, you'll change your life and you'll change your outcome. All right. So I want Lori to close us out. Lori, just give us a closing statement and then also let people know where they can find you. So if they ever want counseling or, financial literacy classes, whatever they may need, that you can be there for them.
Sure, most definitely. It is so, and I said to Marie when we first got on, you always think this is going to take forever or it's going to be, but in a short span of time, we're trying to cover, and she's doing a wonderful job trying to cover so much in an hour time of how she could possibly help community, help our sisters, help our brothers. And so I would say this is that whatever you do, please start today. Start today. If there's been something that's been on your heart, your mind, if you see there is a need that has not been met within the earth, you be the one to fill it.
Yes.
Sit down. You might not can write a business plan, but sit down and just start writing a list. Start writing that list on what you see in the earth that has not been met, or what is in the earth that could be improved upon.
Yes.
So do that. Also, make sure that you contact me. I'll be happy to work with you, to discuss some things with you. I have had Marie is one of my proud. I don't care what she's gone through in life. I don't care what the ups or the downs or whatever. I remember spending nights on the couch. She was at my godparents' house. That's when I was living with my godparents. And when she was trying to move from the level that she was, we worked that thing together. And I don't care what anyone says, we did that thing well. Everything has a season. And sometimes we have to shift and pivot with those seasons. But call me. I can be reached at info@solomonsfinancialsolutions.com. If not, you can look me up. I am on social media. You can find me there. But I work with individuals just going to help them to get clarity, helping them to build from where they are. And even though I don't advertise a lot, I have a lot of good successes of people. I just kind of just help people behind the scenes and help them to get it done. But I would just say, make sure you start. Start today. Start this evening. Write down one thing you want to get done and accomplished this weekend. Just one thing small. Build there. Learn to celebrate the building blocks of something small, but make sure you start today. And be consistent and be willing to learn, be willing to listen. I still stay there with that. And you'll get there. I am a witness. I'm a witness to that.
Lord, we thank you for your wisdom. We thank you for just taking out time out of your busy schedule to be with us tonight. I don't take for granted every week when the Lord sends a great guest on. I don't take it for granted because I know you guys' schedules are extremely busy and you say yes. And even if you got something going on, you guys find time to put us on your schedule. But I want to tell you, thank you. Thank you for the pour tonight. Thank you for the wisdom. Thank you because somebody's life has been changed. And all I care about is to see my sisters and brothers win. I'm called to the women, y'all. Men, I'm sorry. I love y'all.
Yes.
But I'm really called to the women. I am. And so I just want to see you win. I want to see you keep going no matter what it looks like. And so we got to bring in trusted voices that can help catapult us into the places that God is literally calling us from. And plus, I want to see you pulled out of the place of obscurity. I know it seems crazy, but we can come up out of it. I'm a living witness. You're looking at a conqueror. So I just want you to be encouraged tonight. Just know this is Women's History Month and we're going to make history. Lori said start now. Let's start tonight.
Start tonight.
Make history.
Make it
yes. Thank you all so much. Lori, thank you again.
Thank you,
and we will see you all again on next week. We have another special guest. Bye-bye.